ghost frequency.
This is the ghost frequency. The light on Delmar. Some cases don't haunt investigators. They haunt cities. They change the way a mother looks out the window at night. They change what a daughter says before she walks out the door. Welcome to the ghost frequency. I'm Ghost. And tonight, we go to Springfield, Missouri. June 7th, 1992. 3 women walked into a house on East Delmar Street and were never seen again. No blood, no forced entry, no struggle. Just 3 purses lined up neatly on the floor and a porch light with a broken globe. Tonight, we're not going to recap the mystery. Tonight, we're going to think like the man who did it. Tone deepens, ambient sound shifts. Act 1, the night. Let's start with what we know. It was graduation night, June 6, 1992. Susie Streeter and her best friend Stacy McCall had just crossed the stage at Kickapoo High School. They hit a few parties. They were supposed to drive to Branson the next morning, go to a water park. Youth and summer and all the possibilities in the world stretched out ahead of them. But plans changed. The way plans do when you're 18. The sleepover they were at got too crowded, so Susie said, "Let's just go to my mom's." That last-minute decision. Cheryl Levitt, Susie's mother, was the only one expected at that house that night. Stacy McCall wasn't supposed to be there. Susie wasn't supposed to be there. They just showed up. That single detail has haunted investigators for over 30 years, because it means if someone planned this, they may have only planned for one. When friends arrived the next morning to check on the girls, the front door was unlocked. The dog, a little Yorkshire Terrier named Cinnamon, was pacing and agitated. The women's cars were in the driveway, their purses were inside, their keys were inside, they were not, and the only sign, the only physical evidence, that something had gone wrong, a broken porch light globe, shattered on the front step. Not the door, not the furniture, not a chair overturned, the porch light. Act 2, the profile. Now, let me shift the lens. Forget the victims for a moment. Let's talk about the person who came to that door. When behavioral analysts profiled this case, they reached several conclusions that don't get discussed enough. They said the suspect was familiar with the area. He was likely someone who moved through that neighborhood regularly, not as a guest, but as a presence. Someone you wouldn't look twice at, someone who belonged. They said he was probably out at odd hours, routinely. They said, and this is the part that keeps investigators up at night, the people closest to this man likely wouldn't believe he was capable of something like this. He had a mask, a clean one. Now, enter Robert Craig Cox. Cox was a former Army Ranger. In 1979, the year he was named Soldier of the Year, he also pleaded guilty to kidnapping and assault with a deadly weapon in California, where he served 9 years and received a dishonorable discharge. In 1988, a Florida jury convicted him of the murder of 19-year-old Sharon Zellers, a Walt Disney World employee who was intercepted on her way home from work, beaten to death. Cox had a bite wound on his tongue he claimed was self-inflicted. Hospital staff didn't believe him. The Florida Supreme Court overturned that conviction on insufficient evidence grounds and released him in 1990. Then he came home, to Springfield, Missouri, his hometown. He arrived just weeks before the 3 women disappeared. And here is the detail that ties the knot. Robert Craig Cox, this convicted kidnapper, this suspected murderer, this trained Army Ranger, worked at the same auto dealership as Stacy McCall's father. He knew who she was. He may have known her face. He may have known her schedule. Act 3, the light on Delmar, the reconstruction. Now, I want to offer you a theory, not a verdict, not a conviction, a reconstruction, based on everything we know. Let's walk through what that night may have looked like. Cox had admitted, in writing, in letters to a Springfield newspaper, that he once worked as a utility locator in South Central Springfield. That is a job that gives you a marked vehicle, a vest, a clipboard, a reason to be on any street at any hour without raising a single eyebrow. His personal vehicle at the time is believed to have been a pickup truck, though what investigators focused on was the other vehicle, a van or something large enough to transport 3 people. Police concluded early in the investigation that the abductor almost certainly needed a larger vehicle. A utility truck, or van, would fit that profile perfectly. So here is the reconstruction. It's after midnight. East Delmar Street is quiet. He knows Cheryl Levitt lives there. Maybe he's driven past before. On the job. Off the job. He may have been watching her. She was the only one expected home. A single woman. Alone. He approaches the house. But something is wrong. There are 2 cars in the driveway that weren't supposed to be there. Susie and Stacy made that last-minute decision to come home. He doesn't know that yet. He reaches the porch. He knocks, or rings, and the porch light comes on. Something happens here. A confrontation at the threshold. Brief. Maybe he gives a reason to open it. A utility issue. A gas line concern. A neighbor complaint. Something official sounding. Something that makes a woman open her door at midnight without thinking twice. The porch light breaks, maybe in a struggle on the threshold, maybe to deliberately darken the entry. A man with Army Ranger training, trained in rapid, silent control and would know the value of darkness. Now he is inside. And there are not 1, but 3 women. He hadn't planned for 3, but he was trained for worse. The dog is shut in. The women are controlled. Quickly, professionally, without the kind of violence that leaves blood on floors or chairs overturned. Their purses stay behind, their keys stay behind, because they aren't going anywhere they chose to go. The answering machine is recording. A call comes in, a male voice making crude remarks. That tape was accidentally erased by a friend who came to check on the house before police arrived. Gone. Whatever it held, gone. Sometime before dawn, a neighbor reported seeing a van near the house. A witness claimed she later saw a blonde woman driving it, who she identified from a photograph as Susie Streeter, and heard a man's aggressive voice say, "Don't do anything stupid." Then they were gone. Act 4. What he said. Years later, in a Texas prison, where Cox was serving a life sentence for holding a gun to a 12-year-old girl during a robbery, investigative reporter Dennis Graves sat across from him and asked about Springfield. Cox looked at the camera and said, "I know that they are dead. That's not my theory. I just know that. There's no doubt about that." He told police information about the case, details they had never released publicly, things that made investigators say they could not eliminate him as a suspect. He said he would tell the full story after his mother died. His mother is still alive. His original alibi, that he was at church with his girlfriend the morning after the disappearance, was later completely retracted by that same girlfriend who admitted Cox had asked her to lie. He gave a second alibi. He was at his parents' home. He gave a third. He was in bed, alone. 3 alibis, for one night. A man who says he knows where the bodies are buried and has never told a soul. That is not a bystander. That is someone carrying weight. Act 5, closing thoughts. Cheryl Levitt was 47 years old. She had just bought her dream home. Susie Streeter was 19. She wanted to be a hairdresser like her mom. Stacy McCall was 18. She was going to college in the fall. She wasn't even supposed to be there that night. The porch light was broken, and somewhere in Springfield, or in the woods beyond it, or beneath the concrete of a city that kept right on growing, 3 women are waiting to be found. Robert Craig Cox is currently serving a life sentence in Texas. He is not eligible for parole. His mother is still alive, and he has never said a word. The case of the Springfield 3 remains open. You know what I keep thinking about? The dog. That little Yorkshire Terrier, pacing the house, agitated, confused. Dogs don't erase evidence. Dogs don't accidentally delete answering machine tapes. Dogs don't recant alibis. She was there. She saw everything, and she can't tell us. This has been the Ghost Frequency. I'm Ghost, and until next time, keep listening for what the silence is trying to say.